Well, hi everyone, Happy New Year, although it's the 6th of January. I've been so busy over Christmas and New Year, I've not been able to make a video or post anything up. Anyway, I hope you had a really good Christmas and New Year. It's out of the way now, back to normal. Well, from tomorrow really, everything's back to normal hopefully. I'm back in the van, been doing a few little bits and pieces. Because I can only really get to spend little snippets of time on the van. I sort of grab an hour here or a couple of hours there or half an hour here or whatever. My videos, sometimes the footage is stitched together to make a video. But what I've been doing is pottering around with the electrics really, trying to get it right in my head, because I'm not an electrician. And the diagrams really freak me out. But I've been trying to get my head around it. I've got my cables and stuff, and I've been putting connectors on. I'll show you that in a minute. How I put the connectors on without the right tools. Again, same thing, not having the right tools, but you know, you can spend so much money on tools. You can spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of money. One of the tools I really wish I had, and probably would have been worth the investment in the beginning, would have been a bench saw, like a table saw. That would have made my life so much easier. Probably still would. If I could muster up the money, I'd probably get one. But with back to electrics, there's a couple of things I really wanted to mention with the electrics. And the first thing is, there's loads of videos out there about van electrics, camper van electrics, 12-volt electrics. Loads of videos out there. Everyone does the system slightly differently depending on what your requirements are, but your basic wiring principles are the same. However, having said that, I'll obviously show you what I'm doing as I go along, but I'm not an electrician, and I don't advocate that anything I'm doing is correct. And once I install my electrics, before I get it into service, I will have it checked by an electrician. But one thing I did find out, and it's a really important thing to note, I installed the 240 volt or 230 volt, it's 230 or 240 in it, the mains electric. I installed or wired up the mains consumer unit. I can get it for you. So I'll spin you around. This is the mains consumer unit. This is the mains consumer unit. It's made by a company called Harrock. This particular one, this has it says 63 amp. It's got a 6 amp breaker, 16 amp breaker and a 32 amp breaker. I'm never going to use a 32, I don't think, unless I had an electric cooker or something like that. But that's what it come with. I'm only using the 16 for the sockets that I'll be putting in. This is just wired up to an extension cable at the moment, which is running the lights, etc., and my charger. When I was looking into buying one of these consumer units, I came across some information on the electrician's website, you know, the CITB and all those. And apparently 240 volt electrics come under the 17th edition regulations. Yeah, 240 volt 17th edition regulations. And apparently in 2016 they brought out what was called Amendment 3. And Amendment 3 says that all new consumer unit installations should be made of metal. The boxes should be made of metal or metal cased. And so I tried to look up to see if there was any definition for camper vans and motorhomes. There is no distinction made between motorhomes, garages, outhouses, homes. There's no distinction made. It just says basically that all new consumer units, 240 volt consumer units, should be made of a metal housing or a metal housed one. Apparently the reason for that is the majority of fires in a consumer unit is loose connections. And what a metal clad consumer unit does is it basically just confines a fire for that little bit longer than it would if it was obviously plastic. Now you can still go out and buy the plastic ones, they're readily available everywhere, and I thought, well, if the electrical board says it should be metal clad, I'm going to get a metal clad one. It's important to note, don't take my word for it, go and look it up for yourselves. For me, it was a no-brainer. What does it matter? You know, if I need to get a consumer unit anyway, might as well get a metal one. So that's what I did. Obviously, if you were buying a brand new motorhome, maybe it would already have a metal one in there. I don't know. I can't find any exemption for motorhomes. It just says all 240 installations must be metal clad. So I spoke to an electrician who I know, domestic electrician, and he said, yeah, that's right, it should be metal. So I bought the metal one. Like I say, don't take my word for it. Go and check it up for yourselves just to make sure for your own peace of mind. I just thought, well, I can't find out a definite yes or no for motorhomes, so I just bought that one anyway. So that one's in. That's going to be fixed into the wall properly once I've had the done a bit more building work in here. And that's the 240, and that's going to run out to 2 or 3 sockets around the van, which I bought the cable in for, but I haven't bought the sockets for yet. And then just started to wiring up a board. I've started wiring up a board for the 12 volt. I'll show you that now. So here's another look at the way I'm connecting up my electric cables, because I haven't got the right crimping tools to do these battery type connectors. I'm just literally cutting the sleeve off, putting the connector on the end so you can just see the tip through that little inspection hole, and then I snap my little bar off, because it takes quite a bit of pressure. So all I'm doing here, I'm just positioning it just right. Start getting a bit of a pinch on it. There. Lift the cable up onto the table so it helps to hold it in place, and then start winding it down. Obviously, whatever you do when you're working on something, it always pays to have the right tools for the job, but if you haven't got the right tools, you make do with what you got. So that's that pinched up there, and then what I do is I take a punch, stick it on there like that. This is just sort of belts and braces, as they call it. Just puts a little indentation in there. One more. All that's done is just put a couple of little dents in there just to make sure that's like well on. Get a bit of heat shrink. Don't need all that. Bit of heat shrink on there. Right down to the other end. Over the top. Like that. Our trusty lighter. That's it. Just to protect it really. Still see the inspection hole, but so that's how I do a connector at the moment. I'll show you where I am with it. So just explain to you where I am at the moment. These two connections are obviously positive, negative of the battery. I'm waiting for cable and connectors to come because I'm having a much longer run now than I was originally going to have. I've ordered a slightly bigger size cable and a lot longer than what I originally needed. So the starter battery cable will run into this fuse. It will run out of the other end of that fuse and it will go into this side, the input side of the battery to battery charger. It will go into the input side of the battery to battery charger. This is the positive out of the charger, which goes into another fuse box, 30 amp fuse box. That comes out of there and goes to the leisure battery. This is the negative that comes out of the charger. That goes to the negative side of the battery, leisure battery. That goes to the negative side of the leisure battery, and this will be cut down to size. This will go from the leisure battery to an earthing point somewhere on the van. So that's for that cable there. This cable is what is going to feed my all my 12 volt systems from a 12 volt fuse box. So this attaches to the positive side of the leisure battery. It goes into an isolator switch and then comes out of the isolator switch and into the fuse box. So this will be cut down to size into the fuse box. The fuse box has two sides to it. It's weird because they're two separate positive sides, but the negatives are all on a bus bar together. So in order to link the two sides up with one 12 volt live feed, you have to bridge these two terminals. Now you can either bridge it with just a piece of cable, so you get like that, and you put another piece of cable onto there. You've now bridged the terminals, so both sides become live off the one feed. What I might try and do is find a piece of metal that will bridge those two terminals, basically with just two holes in. I can just bolt straight onto there. It'd be much simpler. There's a few schools of thought about this, about whether they should be soldered. And the popular consensus is that they shouldn't be. Hence they're not soldered. So I had another electrical revelation, absolutely brilliant. Got to get some of these. You know those little connector blocks, electrical connector blocks, where you undo the screw, you stick the wire in each side, do the screw up. Well, these basically replace that. Absolutely brilliant. They're called Wago connectors, W-A-G-O. I keep calling them Waco. They're Wago connectors. And the way they work is like this, look. Little connector block, same as the old-fashioned ones, right? You can see through. Basically, open up the clip like that. You stick your wire in. Let's see if I can show you one. I've got one here. There's one here. Now these wires are a bit long, but you'd cut these. You would cut the wire. You'd cut the wire to the right depth of your connector, and basically you push the wire in and you clip it down. Job done. That is it. Put your next wire in, next wire in, next wire in, and that is done. If you want to change it, open up the connector, pull the wire out. They're rated to about, I think they're rated to about 32 amps or something like that. You know, electricians use them. Wago connectors. This particular type is a Wago 221. I think the one before this, prior to this, was 222. But they come in 3, 4 or 5 port connectors. They are an absolute godsend. I'll stick a link in the description. If you're doing any wiring, get yourself a few. They are not expensive, they're well cheap, and they are absolutely worth their weight, I tell you. Saves all that poncing around with a little screw and all that. Absolutely brilliant. I've used them up here, for example, with the lighting wiring. You can see I've got a couple up here, Wago connectors just in there for the lights. This one up here, I've got a couple of connectors here. As you can see, I've got all the reds going into that one, all the blacks going into that one, live, neutral. One going to the power source, one going to the light, and then going off to a switch panel. So yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant connectors. Like I say, I'll stick a link in the description. Go and buy some. I think they're available everywhere anyway, but go and get yourself some. It's one of my latest discoveries. Absolutely brilliant. Probably in the next video I'm going to start making the bed tomorrow. The bed frame. So I'm going to start making the bed frame. Hopefully I can get some footage of that and see how that's going on. But it's dragging on a bit now. I want to get it all done by the spring. Sooner the better, really. I want it basic so that I can get into it and live in it, and then, like everyone says, you know, you're always making changes to it. You're always like adding things to it, changing things, moving things around. Just got to get the basics right, really. But I'm happy with it so far. The walls have come out nice. They're going to have some treatment on, probably going to be white. Yeah, the kitchen's a bit of a headache. Because 1 minute I thought, oh, I'll have it there, and then, oh no, I'll have it over there. No, actually I'll have it there, no, I'll have it. And then, where am I going to have my gas bottle? Oh, it'd be better if it's by the door then. So, I'd love to have an underslung gas bottle, but, you know, it's huge money. Won't be able to do that till after I'm on the road. So it is what it is. I'm cracking on, getting bits done. Hopefully Lee will be over to help me tomorrow with the bed frame. Go and buy some more timber. Do you know, I must have spent more money on timber than I think any other individual item. I must have spent a fortune on timber. You know, every time I go out, the last bit of timber I bought, 4 pieces of timber, 25, 26 quid. Timber's a lot of money. I find it a little bit cheaper at the timber yard than it is at places like B&Q. And they're really quite helpful, timber yards. You go in there and say, I want this. And I go, yeah, no worries, mate. And I go and get it. They'll even cut it down to size for you. Well, you go in B&Q's, Homebase, Wicks, places like that. You say, oh, I want such and such timber. They go, yeah, it's all over there, mate. The timber's all over there. So you're hunting round trying to find amongst a sea of different size timbers. So yeah, timber yards are really good for if you're buying your basic timber. Oh, nice cup of tea. Anyway, what did you all get for Christmas? Anyone get any really good van stuff? I didn't get any van bits for Christmas. Does anyone get any good van bits? Anyone get any good stuff that they're putting in their vans? That'd be nice to find out what you got. Earlier in the year, last year for my birthday, my daughter bought me a Ridge Monkey, and I'm really keen to use that. So as soon as I get the kitchen in and the cooker up and running, or the hob up and running, I'll be sticking the Ridge Monkey on there, making a bacon roll, and you lot are going to join me. I'd also like to thank all my new subscribers. Well, I'd like to thank all my existing ones as well for helping me with the channel. But I'd like to thank all my new subscribers as well for logging on. Be nice to get up to 500 soon. That'd be really nice. I'll be jumping up and down. Well, I won't be jumping up and down, but you know what I mean. Metaphorically, I'll be drinking lots of tea, vaping, and having a celebration. Might even push the boat out and have a hot chocolate. But yeah, thanks everyone for supporting me. I really appreciate it.